Arsenal hypocrisy. We need to speak about the Arsenal cheat claims. We have to talk about the Arsenal dark arts. So, Hassam, I am handing over to you.
Listen, for me, the last 3-4 days have exposed nothing but the hypocrisy of all the fan bases, that are calling out Arsenal. I think everyone is just jealous of Arsenal. I think Arsenal have absolutely rattled both Manchester City fans and players. And I'm saying this from the exact opposite side because I lived the other life that Man City fans claim that should be the right way to do stuff. I was the Liverpool fan for 7 years. All I heard was, all Klopp has is one league title in 9 years. All Klopp has is one league title in 8 years. You have one UCL and one Premier League. You've done this. You've got the best right back in the world and the best left back and the best goalkeeper and the best centre back and the best winger and blah, 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 blah. And you've only won one Premier League and one Champions League. No one ever gave me cookie points for playing beautiful football. No one ever said, oh, you lost to Man City 5-0, but it's okay because you done it the right way. We still got cooked. They still ruined us. They still spoke badly about Liverpool. And I think the hypocrisy shown by the Man City fans is absolutely hilarious and delusional, because I want to give the reverse scenario. The Emirates. Arsenal are 2-1 down to Manchester City. Manchester City have 10 men. If Arsenal don't win that game 3-2, everyone comes here and says Arsenal don't have the mentality to win the Premier League. Arsenal's problem is their mentality. Arsenal should have won the game. Manchester City had 10 men. Manchester City scored a pinball goal at the end, and everyone's supposed to sit up here and praise Manchester City. All the pressure was on Man City. Even when I was doing the watch along, everyone in my chat was like, yo, they're down to 10 men. Now City are going to score 4 or 5 goals. But they're so rattled and they're so irritated. And I want to call out this rat, Bernardo Silva, as well. Drake took the biggest L this summer, but in his words, I got fake people showing fake love to me. This is the same guy that did not clap us in a guard of honor. This is the same guy that was beefing Liverpool fans 4 years ago. All of a sudden, you want to show me prop. Don't show me prop. I don't want to hear any Liverpool prop from you. You're the biggest rat, and you should have been sent off. And once again, I go back to the same to the game. I'm not even calling out hypocrisies from the league in general. I don't even want to do the whole kumbaya stuff. All the referees are inconsistent. I don't even want to do any of that. In the same exact game, how many Manchester City players could have been booked for dissent? How many Manchester City players could have been booked for just running to the referee and complaining? Doku kicked the ball away. Nothing happened. This is the problem with the hypocrisy. And this all ties back to my main point, which is actually something that I started last year. It evens out. It levels out. Everyone has decisions against them except Manchester City. That's the one football club that in significant moments have never had decisions go against them ever. This is the same football club that robbed me of a league title because of a Rodri handball away at Goodison. And you know what they did? Instead of them calling out the referees and saying, yeah, it should have been a penalty, we got away with one, they nicknamed it the hand of fraud. And now they're taking this all high and mighty approach, trying to act like they're better than everyone else, and everyone should stay humble. How about Erling Haaland stay humble? Because Arteta had to build this shit from the ground up. He came into a team that finished 8th, and he had to rebuild them all the way to become a title contender. How about you be humble? The only reason that you joined Manchester City is because the Sheikh bought them 15 years ago. If the Sheikh bought Everton, you'd been playing in dark blue across cities in the north. So let's not sit up here and waffle. You're asking Arsenal to be humble. How about you be humble? You got pocketed 45 minutes playing against 10 men. No one saw you. You were in Saliba and Gabriel's back pocket. You did nothing the whole game. The hypocrisy of fans of all the football clubs is just so delusional. So delusional for us to expect Arsenal to beat Manchester City in their own backyard with 10 men. It's so delusional. And even with that, they almost did it. If it wasn't for a pinball goal and the referee ruining the game. And speaking of the referees ruining the game, last season, Arsenal got robbed away at Newcastle. Arsenal got robbed away at Aston Villa. Liverpool had the biggest robbery this season away at Spurs. The lines were not drawn. Manchester City versus Spurs. The lines were not drawn on an offside goal. They did not even draw the lines. They did not even PGMOL anything. They did not even show the whole world, yo, look at the VAR replay. Here's the Microsoft Paint lines that we draw using the shift button. They showed us nothing. And life kept it stepping. Now, I'm not saying there's any conspiracies. I'm not saying that Manchester City pays referees. I'm not going to go that far. All I'm saying I think the referees bottle it in front of Manchester City. Maybe they're afraid of getting called out by Pep. Maybe they're afraid of the aftermath. Maybe they're afraid of all of these things, because that's the one football club that consistently has decisions going for them in every single significant moment, in every single title race. There hasn't been a single moment in a big game in which a refereeing decision affect Manchester City in a negative connotation. Now, some shameless City fan will come tell me, but the advantage against Spurs, Jack Grealish was literally running at 4 center backs, all quicker than him. So let's not sit up here and act like that is a significant moment compared to red cards, compared to not drawing offside lines, compared to handballs in the penalty box away at Goodison. And now I'm sat here, I'm not changing my energy. I'm not applying the pressure on Arsenal to win it. Don't you all tell us Manchester City is the best club in the world and the biggest club in Manchester, and they're amazing and they do all that stuff? They still have to win the league for me, because guess what? You already have Benitez and Mourinho agreed on this. It's not even about the money that you spent this summer. It's about investments from the past. You already had a strong enough team. You've already won the league title and 2 and the 3rd and the 4th, and you spent all that money improving your team. I'm not trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear any excuses about Rodri being out, because guess what? When Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez, and Joel Matip, 3 center backs were out for 6 months, they called it the worst title defense ever. When Saliba got injured for Arsenal, they said Arsenal bottled it. So I'm not changing my energy. All pressure is on Manchester City. Manchester City should have to win this league. And I'm going to call out my own fan base. I'm going to call out multiple fan bases as well from the top 6 sides. If you're a Spurs fan or a Chelsea fan, I get it. I completely get it. 100%. Every Chelsea fan should want Arsenal to lose the league. Every Spurs fan should want Arsenal to lose the league. Rivalry, tribalism, no problem. I understand it. My issue is with Liverpool fans and Manchester United fans. You're basing your whole arguments based off because there are 3 Arsenal fans I know in real life that are annoying, that are going to claim Saliba is the best centre back in the world. I want Manchester City to save football. Football's already ruined. What do you mean save football? Football is in the worst moment it's ever been since we've started watching. Yes, Man United were dominant, but it was never this case. It was never like this. This was never the levels that it ever reached, even when Man United were good, because you always had contenders, you always had stuff like that. With Manchester City, they're not going to save football. If Liverpool can't win this league title, I want Arsenal to win it. If Liverpool cannot win this league title and we fall off, I will be supporting Arsenal in the title race if we can do it. Because Arsenal are a club with history, tradition, and Arsenal have 0 charges. 0 charges. Not 150, sorry, 130. Not 130. 0 charges. And they've spent this from the ground up. And for me, the thing that annoys me the most is just the hypocrisy of the rivals. Stop acting like your team would attack with 10 men away at the Etihad. They got the draw, luckily, to begin with. Manchester City were lucky to get that draw because Michael Oliver has main character syndrome. I love Dan Potts yesterday on Straight Facts debunking it. He's like, nah, he did send a player off. When? 2014. Wow. Fucking 10 years ago, he sent off a Manchester City player. Come on now. I genuinely don't believe there's anyone who can recall any moment, a significant moment in a title race in which Manchester City were harmed by referees. I can name you 5 from me, 5 from Arsenal right now.
Do you know what's really interesting about what you've said there? The bit there's loads to unpack. What I'm going to pull out on is Hamza said it last night on Terrace. He said Arsenal are now favourites to win the league, but then wouldn't say that Arsenal are better than City without Rodri being there. Arsenal can only be the favourites from this point if they're 2 points behind City. If you think Arsenal as a squad and with their manager are now better than City because they've lost Rodri for the majority of the season. Mm-hmm. If you still think City are better, this notion of the pressure's all on Arsenal to win the league, it's contradictory at best. Delusional, ridiculous, awful logic at worst, in my opinion. If you now think Arsenal are the better of the 2 teams based on players that are available in the circumstance, then it makes sense why you would say Arsenal were the favourites. But what's annoying me is that Arsenal are not considered favourites in terms of quality, experience, know-how of getting over the line. But everybody's trying to say they have to now go on and win the league. Well, again, whenever I've said a team has to go and win a specific trophy, it's because I think you're the best. There's no excuses for Arsenal not to win the Champions League. Or you think they're better than Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool? No. Well, then there's a fucking excuse, isn't there? They've got no excuse to not win the Premier League. Oh, do you think they're better equipped to win it than Liverpool or Man City? No way. Then how is there no excuses? That's I wouldn't call it an excuse, but they're genuine reasons. Excuses are literally things you give to get you out of it. Generally speaking, you give an excuse, and they're normally a little bit hollow to get you out of why you didn't do your homework, why you were home late, why did you arrive at work late. You give a little bit of an excuse. If you've got a genuine reason, no one's ever called a genuine reason an excuse before. And again, I'm all for the banter, but the problem is when the banter becomes part of genuine analysis. And that is where I don't mind fans doing it per se, but when you question them, they don't actually want to say what they think. But it's when I see it from the mainstream media. And you've seen it with this dark art stuff, with this dark arts thing. I want to play a little